welcome to the November the 21st, 1995 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and for some of the people that have been important about making that history, and some of them even are continuing to make history today. We're delighted to have a very special segment. This is our segment number 263, and we have an unusual group with us today. We had a poetry contest during Senior Citizens Week, and we are just so pleased to have not only the young lady that helped us to administer the poetry contest, but we have two of the winners, and we're going to be so very glad to bring those to you today. And our administrator, the one that really helped us get this poetry contest together, Johnny Stanton, welcome to the set, my dear.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you back, Johnny. And also our first place winner in the poetry contest, Polly Paul. Polly, welcome to the set.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And our third place winner, Gene Cates. Gene, we're just so glad to have you on board today, young man.
Thank you, Ruthie. Appreciate that.
Yes, you bet. All right, let's begin our little history interview with a little bit of history about Senior Citizen Annual Awareness Week. We've had that for several years in a row. But isn't this the first time, Johnny, we've had the poetry contest?
It is the first time. This was a very exciting Senior Citizen Awareness program this time because it was a first. We had before we had just a reading of poetry, but not ever the contest that we had this year.
Where we had those that wrote their original poetry, brought it, and had it judged too. Now, how did you facilitate all of that? Getting judges for a poetry contest, was that pretty hard, Johnny?
It wasn't hard. We used people that really knew something concerning poetry writing, prose and poetry. So we used Mark King and Sharon Logan and Coletta, who is on staff at the senior building.
That's wonderful. That sounds like a real good balanced judging group that you had there. Now, did you get any help in getting the word out about this?
We sure did. I really give a lot of praise to the Grand Prairie News. They really gave us a very good coverage.
How long did these people have to get their poetry together? Did you give them a week, 2 weeks, or a month or so?
Well, it was possibly a month because on October the 10th was the deadline. And we started, I think, about the last of August.
How many entries did you finally receive, approx?
We received about 12 entries.
12? Mm-hmm. That is wonderful. We have all these creative people in Grand Prairie, Texas, and I know that was fun for you to oversee, Johnny, because not only were you involved in Senior Citizen Awareness Week, you are over a very special recreation center in Dalworth. You want to tell us a little bit about your job?
Oh, the Dalworth Recreation Center. I have worked there for several years and worked with all age group. That is one thing, from the little ones to the older ones. And it is really a joy and a privilege, to have that opportunity.
Now, Johnny, do you write poetry yourself?
Very little.
Very little.
But I do like poetry.
You do like poetry?
Yes.
That's wonderful. All right, we're going to come back with you in just a minute because one of our recipients, the second place winner, is not able to be here, and that's Georgia Daniels. And when we come back, we want you to tell a little bit about Georgia, and also we'd like to have you read her poem. Would that be okay?
That'd be just fine.
All right, now let's get down to our first place winner. Polly Paul, we're glad to have you on the set today, and I believe you brought your certificate with you that you received as the first place winner. And I think all of the winners and even an honorable mention got a certificate, right? good. Along with that, did you receive anything else, Polly?
Yeah, I sure did.
Yes.
$50.
You got a $50 first prize. That was really great. And before we get you to read your poem, would you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your wonderful husband that has been president of the AARP for a couple of years and is very involved, but he didn't write poetry, did he?
No.
All right,
no,
tell us a little bit about yourself, would you?
Well, I've been married to Bob for be 23 years in August.
All right.
And he was, like you say, the president of AARP, and he retired from LTV, and I met and married him. It's a wonderful life we've had together after my first husband passed away. And I've always loved poetry. Mother gave me elocution lessons as a child, and
Yes.
I have loved poetry ever since. And before I got married and raised my 5 children, I had a little time that I did write some poetry.
Uh-huh.
But raising my children took it all up.
Well, I know that we have been honored by having your mother, who is 95 years old, on our show in the past. You better name drop her or you are in bad trouble.
Oh, yes, Mary Hauser. She's the one that went up in the hot air balloon on her 95th birthday. And on her 96th birthday this year, she went on the back of a motorcycle, first time. But she felt perfectly safe because she was riding behind the minister.
Oh, my. The minister was the motorcycle person in charge, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write your poem, Polly.
Well, I was thinking, well, maybe too many people might not enter it since it was the first time. And I
Yes.
thought, well, I'll enter it just so there'll be another entry. Had
Yes.
no idea that I would win. I was very surprised and very pleased. And I put that among my other awards that I have received with my dolls and things like that.
That is
So
wonderful.
I'm very proud of all my ribbons and certificates and all.
All right. Now, would you like to read your poem for us?
All right.
Okay. And look right out into your camera as you're reading. And
I'm getting old. You'd never know it by looking, though.
that's it. Nor how you act.
When I was young, my hair was gold. To my dismay, it's now silver. But sometimes, may I start that over?
You may start over. We'll erase all of that. Go right ahead.
Okay. When I was young, my hair was gold. To my dismay, it's now silver. In younger years, my voice was bold. But sometimes I hear my voice quiver. Guess I'm just getting old. To clean my house used to be a snap. To shop at the store was no chore. Now I tire easily, so I'll take a nap. Now it's work just to mop the floor. Sure seems like I'm getting old. Raising my children was such a pleasure, with their sweet but mischievous ways. These memories will be among my treasures to carry me through my remaining days. I can't believe I'm getting old. Old Arthur comes to disrupt my day. I try to pretend he's not here. A painkiller pushes old Arthur away. I think Arthur's a pain in the rear. He makes me feel so old. Now, why do I worry about getting old? I'm only as old as I feel. If this is true, like I've been told, in my heart I am young, but still, why do I look so old?
That's wonderful. And I believe, Johnny, we had a certain subject for all of these. Did you have a subject or a title for them to follow when you started this contest?
The title was What It Means to Be a Senior Citizen.
What it means to be a senior citizen, and Polly entitled hers about getting old. All right, that's wonderful. Let's go down to Gene now. Gene, let's find out a little bit about you, young man.
All right.
How long have you been in and around Grand Prairie? Give us a little history.
I retired from LTV with 29 plus years, and
What'd you do at LTV?
I was a machinist, worked right on the
On the
floor,
line.
and that was a strange thing. Most people out there go from one department to another, but I spent 29 years in the same place, running the same machine, and literally almost wore a hole in the concrete out there.
All right.
It was very unusual, and I must say that I really don't miss punching the clock and getting up and going out there every morning, but I do miss the people. I miss the people.
All right.
I really do.
All right. Now, do you have a family?
Yes, I have two sons, neither one, they're both, of course, gone, neither one are married,
All
so
right.
there's no grandchildren.
All right.
But they're both, one's in Fort Worth, the other's in San Antonio.
You would name them.
Yes, Gary's my oldest son. He's the one that's in the Air Force in San Antonio. And then my youngest boy is Kevin Cates,
All
and
right.
he's in Fort Worth.
All right.
Fine fellas, both
All
of them.
right. And you
bet.
have a wife.
Yes, Joyce.
Joyce,
We'll
what-
be married 40 years this coming year.
And does Joyce work out of the home?
No, she is working with L'Oreal, which is a byproduct of Vault.
Okay.
And so she's been with them 20 plus years, and she still works.
Yes.
She still works. Somebody has to pay the bills.
That's right. And that way
Right.
you can feel free to go fishing and all the
Well,
things. and-
we'll get into that in the poem. You'll see what I'm talking about in the poem here in
All
a few
right.
minutes. But yes, it does. It gives me plenty of time to do things.
Uh-huh. Now, you have not lived in Grand Prairie very long.
That's right.
All right.
That's
Tell
right.
us how long.
7 months.
We
We've
got
only-
him under the wire, John. He's
Yes,
7
we-
months in Grand Prairie.
Yes.
And he comes up 3rd place in the poetry
Right,
contest.
right.
All right. All right. And tell us where you lived before coming to Grand Prairie.
We were in Venus,
In the
which
Venus
is
area.
down around Claiborne and in that Johnson County area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you believe that the city of Grand Prairie's geographic boundaries on the south go all the way to Venus?
I know you do. You
Yes.
caught just the very back end. I lived on 157 on the Grand Prairie side.
Oh.
So
that-
you see, really, I guess if you want to say it.
Yes,
We
I
always
thought-
said that we're in deep, really deep South Grand Prairie.
You were in the deepest part on the very
Really
line,
deep,
weren't you?
really deep
Well, I was
South
going
Grand
to make you admit that because when you said you had lived in Venus all your life, I knew you were on that line, and so we had to claim you from Grand Prairie
All
even
right.
that far
Yes,
south.
yes.
Okay. Before you read your poem, tell us how you found out about the poetry contest.
Well, once again, wife was just kind of trying to find things to keep me occupied and keep me busy.
Honey-do.
And, so we had went down to the senior citizens on Conover.
Yes.
And they do an aerobics class there, and I got involved with that. That's a 3-day type situation, and they have a little, it's just a little counter there, and on this little counter, you probably do the same thing. At yours, they put all kinds of publications,
Yeah.
things to do. And boy, during the Senior Citizens Week, there was plenty of food to eat, and I'm not much into that. And other things. And then I looked over there, and there was a poetry writing contest, and I've been doing this poetry for a long, long time. Yeah, I came by it from my mother. During the old home demonstration. Do you remember those? That's where the ladies would go out into the community, and they would do demonstrations
Yes.
and teach the ladies how to cook and how to maintain and things of this nature. And Mother did that, and at the same time, she took her poetry with her, and that was one of the things she did, what she called readings.
Readings. Oh, good.
And so I just kind of come into that second nature and the singing too and
Yes.
things. We spent a lot of time just entertaining ourselves. Wasn't any TV and things of this nature, so.
Did you do any poetry writing when you were in school?
Yes, I did when I was in high school. I wasn't very successful with it because that's not kind of a boy type thing, particularly, when
Yes.
I graduated from Granbury in 1953. So you're looking at 50, 51, 52, and
Yes.
53. And most of them was playing football and baseball and things like that. So to be a poetry writer wasn't, but I was in the choir. I did do that, and that's unusual. You didn't find a lot of the young boys doing that. So, but yes, even then I was doing poetry writing, and I guess in the closet, you might say.
He was a secret poetry writer,
Yes.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Aren't we glad we got him to come out with that to this time? All right.
But my
and-
wife says I wrote beautiful love letters when I was in the Army, so
good.
I don't know. Someday maybe you can get her on and find out from the real source.
All right. Now, what made you decide on the subject that you have written on your poem?
Well, that was a strange thing. The subject is what it means to be a senior citizen. That's where I titled mine, and I just went from there.
All right.
I just went from the title.
Did you get any encouragement from your wife?
No, she really didn't even know anything about this. I just did this on the sly. And,
That's another secret.
And many secrets. I've got into this poetry writing in a Western flavor. It's something new, really not that new, but it's really beginning to come into its own. A lot of the old cowboys are doing this.
Oh, I see.
And yes, and so I've been doing some of that, and I really enjoy doing it.
All
Sure
right.
do. Mhm.
Shall we call on you now to read your poem?
Okay, thank you.
All right. And this is your camera in case you want to
All
look to
right.
your audience as you do your recitation,
All right.
your coming out party.
What it means to be a senior citizen. When I see a friend from the plant, they'll always say, "Gene, what do you do all day?" "I don't go fishing, and I don't play golf. If I was a tree, I'd probably be a knot. What do I like? I must be crazy. I like being lazy. I mow the grass, and I'll trim the trees. For right now, it's just the Lord and me. For right now, it's just the Lord and me. What's it like to be a senior? How would I know? I'm just glad to grow old."
That's wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Yes, and congratulations.
And
That's
along
great.
with this came $20.
You got $20.
Yes. And we've spent that $20 I don't know how many times.
You bet.
We went to lunch on it, and we've had coffee and everything you can think of. Everybody's really
I thought maybe he
we've had a hoot.
spent that on buying a poetry book, didn't you? or how to write poetry or something exciting like that. That's wonderful. All right, now, Johnny, we've got to find out a little bit of something about Georgia Daniels, who was our second place winner. And tell us a little bit about Miss Georgia. Would you do that?
Georgia Daniels is a beautiful person. Georgia belonged to church at St. John Baptist Church. She worked with the kids there. She is a member of the Dalworth Carter Oliver Senior Citizen. She also is the song leader of the Willing Worker Singers and a very good volunteer at the Dalworth Recreation Center. So Georgia is a all-round person, and we love her very much. And she was the winner of $30, and I must give that honor to Mrs. Ruthie Jackson.
All
She
right.
was our sponsor.
Oh, it was wonderful to sponsor this contest. But tell me about Georgia. How long has she lived in Dalworth?
Several years.
Several years.
Yes, ma'am, several years. I don't know just exactly, how many, but for several years she has
Does
lived
Georgia
there.
have a family?
Yes, ma'am, she has a family. She is a mother, grandmother, and great-grand. I, know
how
that much.
wonderful.
Yes.
That is great. All right, are you going to do us the honor of reading Georgia's poem so we'll have that on record?
I shall try.
All right.
Okay, second place winner. The blessings of a senior citizen. Blessed are they who looked away when I spilled tea on my clothes today. Blessed are they with a cherry smile who stopped to chat for a little while. Blessed are they who know the way to bring back memories of yesterday. Blessed are they who never say, "You have told that story twice today." Blessed are they who understand my faltering steps and shaking hands. Blessed are they who know my ears today must strain to catch the things they say. Blessed are they who seem to know My eyes are dim, my mind is slow. Blessed are they who make it known that I'm loved, respected, and not alone. And blessed are they who will ease the day on my journey home in a loving way. Georgia Daniels.
Isn't that wonderful? That was just splendid. Now, I'm sorry Miss Georgia couldn't be with us today. I believe she had a doctor's appointment.
She did.
That she couldn't get away from.
Yes.
And some of us, when we get our age, always have to take that into consideration. First things first.
That's right.
Did we have an honorable mention for that?
Yes, we did. Our honorable mention was John Trim.
John Trim?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have his poem? We don't, do we?
No, ma'am. No,
It's not on there. John Trim was our honorable mention, and I wish I had a copy of his poem so that we could read and congratulate him too. But we had money just for first, second, and third place winners, didn't we? I'm gonna have to print money next year so we can have honorable mention money, aren't we?
That is right.
Yeah, that'll be great. All right, Johnny, let's stop for just a moment on this and tell us just a little bit about your Just Say No Girls. I know that I saw you yesterday. Not only do you work in poetry, senior citizens, your church, your community, but you were at the Drug Task Force yesterday afternoon for a 2-hour stint of trying to see what we could do to stem the tide on that particular subject. And tell us some of the things that your Just Say No Girls and other groups are doing.
Well, at this moment, I am very happy to say that the Just Say No girls have a Just Say No drill team.
That's
And
wonderful.
it is something. I just have to brag a little bit. They did their first performance last Sunday at Ezel Chapel Christian Methodist Church in Dallas. And we were just very proud. So, and the leader of this club is a little girl that I chose to lead the drill team. And she is 9 years old. And you just gonna have to see the Just Say No to Drug drill team.
All right, and when do they perform?
They perform, well, it would be by appointments, you know,
Yes.
whoever, but they have a rehearsal each evening. After they go home and get their lesson, they make it right to the recreation center, and that's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That is wonderful.
And so
That's
they just
keeping them busy, isn't it,
Keep
Johnny?
them busy, that's right. That
Yeah.
is right, because they are very energetic, you know. So if you don't get them to doing something positive, they will be doing something negative. And it is very good. Would like for everyone to see them.
Yes. And do you have a magic telephone number they could call in the event that they want to use the girls for some
Yes,
entertainment
ma'am.
or whatever?
Yes, ma'am. They can call 264-7670 or 263-9317. Okay, and ask for Johnny Stanton.
It's very unusual that we give telephone numbers and an update on things in a history show, but that is so appropriate. And Johnny, we probably ought to write a certificate for you, even though we didn't have you writing a poem. Maybe we should write a poem about Johnny Stanton and some of the wonderful things that she does. So if we get the right title next year, when we do this again next year, maybe we'll come up with something real exciting like that, Johnny. Let's be thinking about that, shall we? All right, let's get back to Polly Paul. Polly, tell us just a little bit about your young life when you were growing up. Did you ever write poetry?
Yes, I wrote quite a few poems when I was younger, mostly in my teenagers when I was walking home from school. If I was by myself, I was writing poetry in my head and talking to myself, going down the street. I know they must have thought I was out of my mind.
Yes. And where did you grow up, Polly?
Well, we lived in Indiana till I was 8, and then we moved to Texas. And we moved out to Riley. It's
Riley, Texas, yes.
Riley, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And we lived out there for about 5 years and lived out. We didn't actually have a farm, but it was in the country.
Uh-huh.
And we had very carefree life. And
Where did you go to school?
I went to Riley's grade school. And,
all right. Was it a county school?
Dallas County, yes.
It was a Dallas County school. Okay.
Uh-huh. And then we moved into town, into East Dallas, and I went to Woodrow Wilson High School. I went,
All right.
well, J.L. Long Junior High, and then Woodrow Wilson. And I went clear till the last 8 weeks. And we moved to Mesquite. And I graduated from Mesquite High. And the strange thing about it was, when I went back to Mesquite, I was with the same group that I went to grade school with, which made it wonderful.
A wonderful circle, wasn't it?
Yes, I didn't have to go to school with a bunch of strangers.
Did you ever write poetry in any of your school time?
Yes, we had classes where, in our reading class, where we would write poetry.
I see.
And I always got a nice comment on mine.
Yes.
And I used to love to recite it. I was so shy, I couldn't speak out at all, but I could stand up and recite poetry, or read, or act on a stage. But you get me off the stage, I couldn't tell you my name. I'd get so shy.
Yes.
So
Well,
I guess I'm a
I knew
hand.
one young lady from our area that went to the county meet, and that's a long time ago when you're really old when you went to a county meet
Yeah.
for competition. But she won the poetry contest from the county meet,
Oh.
and I was always so envious because I wrote a little terse verse, but never any real poetry.
Well, I sang in the citywide chorus when I went to J. Long Junior High.
Yes.
And I also sang in the church choir. And those are the things I really loved. Anything using my voice. I loved to express myself some way. And
All right, I want one word from both of you. We want you to look out into your camera and encourage everyone to write a poem between now and next year. Would you do that first, Polly?
I sure would. If you like me, you might be lucky and you might win the prize. And it's a lot of fun, you know, and you can tear them up and don't even take them in if you don't think they're good enough, but somebody else might think so. So be wise to take it in and give it a chance.
All right, Jean, one word, 1 minute.
Poetry is something that comes from the deep, from the depths of your being. So everyone has the capabilities of being a poet. Really, you just need to put your mind and your heart and just get really deep within yourself and write it down. Write it down. We all have the capability to do it, and we just need to take the time and put these thoughts and these memories and these little instances down on paper and save them. Someone else might want them.
That's wonderful. I want to thank you all. It's so exciting to have the poetry winners, part of them today. And Johnny, we want to thank you for all the extra time that you spent, my dear, and the Grand Prairie News for advertising for us and seeing that the word got out. And of course, Kim at the Senior Center, she was so supportive and has helped pass the word for us. So thank you all for being on our show today. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.